What you doing? Need a hug. Your breath stinks. Different day, same shirt. I don't know how that happened. Are you Roscoe 6? She's, the lighting. I don't know what's going on. What the heck? Grocery, something, you know, like weird. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video was going to be a couple other things, but I decided that I needed to do this first. Today's video is going to be the steps to take, at least the steps that I would take in order to create a budget or to start budgeting. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate if you stick around. I like this little community that we have here, and I always enjoy seeing your comments, and it's just fun, and it keeps me motivated, and I hope that it keeps you all motivated. And then check me out on Instagram. That's kind of where I post more about like the day-to-day life and my babies, but I share all kinds of things. Lately, it's been mostly budgeting. If you want to stick around, please subscribe. And let's go ahead and get into the video. So in the last couple months, I've had a handful of people ask me like kind of, how do you get started budgeting? Where do I start? What do I do? And I am not in no way like a financial advisor person. I'm just going to say what I've done or what I did in the beginning and kind of what I've done throughout to try to stay on track. Nothing's ever perfect when it comes to budgeting. I'm just gonna say that. Literally every month I have something that I'm like, man, I wish I would have done this better. But the point is to know where your money's going and to be able to have a plan for your financial goals. So I specifically talk about zero-based budgeting, and initially that can be like super overwhelming when you think about budgeting every single dollar down to the zero. And I think that's the biggest thing that tells people like, nope, don't want to do this. I don't want to budget. Like I literally have no money left over after my budget, which is the point. So your zero-based budget is sending all your money somewhere. You're just deciding where your money's going to go and writing it down so that you know exactly where all your dollars went, so that at the end of the month you're like, where did all my money go? I don't even have money to pay my student loans. Or, man, I really wanted to save $200 this month and I don't even know where that $200 went. So that's the point. If you have money left over, you should have a plan for that money. Just don't let it sit there. I'm specifically just going to talk about what I did, and these are like my tips. So first thing that I did when I was like, actually, let me rewind. Russell and I went on a vacation last summer, and we had budgeted a little bit, but it was always like at the end of the month we had no money left. And I didn't know, like I was just like, I don't like budgeting, and it was a struggle. So we actually went on a vacation and we spent a lot of money, and we knew we were going to have a good time. We were going to eat out, we're going to drink, we're going to whatever. And that was what we did. When I came home, I decided I'm going to go through and see how much money we spent on this vacation. And it was a lot more than I thought. So then I thought, man, we have to be spending a lot more money. Like we have student loans that we need to pay and medical bills that we need to pay. And I just kind of got myself to get my bank statements and write everything down. And I put them in categories. And some of the stuff I couldn't tell where it went because, like, you know, if you look at your bank statement, you can't always tell where it came from certain places. So I just tried to do my best. And I was appalled at the numbers. I was amazed at how much money I spent at Starbucks in 1 month. And it blew my mind. And at that point I said, we gotta start budgeting, because we were struggling with the student loan payments, and Russell's loans were in default because we had never paid on them. And it was just a mess. I decided to figure out the categories that I thought I was spending in, like groceries, home, kids, that sort of thing, and then go through my bank statement from that 1 month and basically tally it all up and see how much I spent in each category. That was like the first step. So then the second step was looking at it and seeing like, wow, I went to Starbucks way too much. By looking at the numbers in each category, then we knew like where we're spending our most money, and looked and saw like, we could probably do better in this particular category. And I did all this like paper and pen. I started out paper and pen, and I still love paper and pen. I took that and tried to lower those numbers just a little bit, not too much, so that I had a basis to work for our budget. I figured it out and then saw how much money we had at the end of the month left over to put towards whatever else we needed to put it towards, which we needed to start paying other debts. I could go into like a lot more of that situation, but I'm just kind of telling you the big tips, I guess. After making your budget is set some goals. So what are your financial goals? You need to figure out why you want to like have that certain financial goal, if it's to save money or if it's to pay off debt or whatever. For us, it's to pay off debt because we have a bunch of student loans. And so our goal is at the end of the month, whatever money's left over, we're gonna put whatever's left over to our debt. And that's what we've stuck to, and that's the mode that we're still in. So you've got to figure out what your financial goals are. If it's savings, then you're going to take that money, put it in savings. If it's investing, you're going to seek somebody out to help you with investing. Make a plan to stick to the budget and make a plan to reach your financial goal. So have a plan in place always to stick to your budget. So when you go out, have a plan. Do I have money in the budget to go out to eat, or do we need to pack our lunches? The other side of that is to have a plan when it comes to your financial goals. So try to say, okay, if I want to save $1,200 by the end of the year, I need to save $100 a month. Basically, whatever your financial goals are, you want to have a deadline for it, or you want to have like a timeline. So for us, what I did is I got a debt avalanche, spreadsheet. I put everything in there so that I know if I put this much money towards my debt and I have this snowball or this avalanche or whatever, then I'll be debt free by this point. So it kind of gives you that thought in your mind so you have an end in sight. I think that's really important. Not just debt, but with savings as well. Check in often, but not too often. So you want to check in enough to where you're staying on track or like being close to being on track, but don't check in so often that it makes it like it's a chore and like you hate checking in. You want to make sure you're checking in to just hold yourself accountable and see those, maybe the habits that you have at certain times in the month. From there, when you're checking in often, if you notice every single month that you're going over on your grocery bill, I had to do this, we had to up our grocery budget until we can figure out how to get it back down. If you know every month that you get a haircut and you just can't figure out how to cut your hair at home, then you need to make sure you put that in your budget. So check in often and make the changes that you need to make. The last tip I'm going to give when it comes to like starting your budget is to set yourself challenges. So if it's savings, tell yourself, I'm going to save every $1 bill that I find. Just to give yourself ways to keep money in your budget that you can put towards your financial goals. If you're new around here, you don't necessarily know my financial situation, but my husband and I are both teachers and we're both athletes in college, and we both took out student loans to live off of and eat and all of that. Our debt is right now probably 99% student loans, and then I got this sweet baby here that we're paying. About $5,000 of our debt is paying for his birth. I did have about $5,000 or $6,000 worth of debt for a car because my car just broke down back in January. It was important to us to not just get some rinky-dinky $1,000 car because we do have 3 kids that we have to travel around. So the car's paid off now. We're about $103,000 in debt, and $97,000 worth of that is student loans. So just take that for what it is. Our strategy really is to budget every month. We used to do cash envelopes. Right now we aren't, and especially like with COVID, we hadn't been because we were ordering a lot of things online. I am really thinking about going back to cash spending because I honestly feel like I do a little bit better on it. It's just more convenient to do like the receipt, save your receipts or go through your bank statement at the end of the month instead of doing the cash. But I think we might need to go back to the cash because it is different spending bills rather than just swiping the card. It's so much easier to just swipe the card and there's not as much of an attachment to that money. We kind of follow Dave Ramsey a little bit. We kind of don't. We do debt avalanche. He likes the debt snowball. We do have like sinking funds or saving funds. They're actually in like savings accounts rather than in envelopes. But we save for Christmas. We save for our family. We just have a small savings for family. We have a slush savings for like small things we're trying to save for throughout the year. If it's right now, we have money saved for a carpet for our basement. We have a kids saving, which is not money that we dip into. That's just money where their money goes. We have a kid category in our budget, so if that money doesn't get spent, it will go into their savings. And then medical savings. The way we do those savings accounts is we have a certain number. It's either, most of them are either $200 or $300. And once it gets up to that $200 or $300 mark, we don't contribute to it anymore unless we have to take from it. We also have our $1,000 emergency fund, just like what Dave Ramsey says. So after we got the emergency fund set up, that's when we started doing our budgeting. Well, then I decided we're gonna go to these savings accounts so we can also save in those accounts. We are in our debt payment phase, so we're doing the debt avalanche. We pay whatever's left over at the end of the month to our debt avalanche. That's kind of where we're at right now. That is our main focus right now, is paying off debt, but also living, comfortably, but not too comfortably, if you know what I mean. We try to save where we can, but we're not going to never do anything fun, or we're not going to never buy our kids toys or never buy ourselves something. We have our own personal spending budgets within our budget, which I think is important. Our debt is large enough that it's going to be, 3 to 5 years before it's paid off. And 1 year of being super strict is great, but 3 to 5 years of being super strict with children, and I still clearly want to enjoy things and be able to go do things and that sort of thing. So just a little background. If you're new here, if you're not new here, you probably knew a lot of that. I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope that you liked it. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. This baby wants to play, so we're going to play and clean up the house. I do budget like by hand and on Google Docs. So if you want to purchase my Google Docs spreadsheet for my budget, then you can check out my Etsy shop below. It's actually $1.99 now because I'm gonna make a new one that will be coming out soon. And I would love it if you stick around, hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video. I do upload on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and I'll see you in the next one.